Hello, hello friend. How are you doing today? My name is Mary. This is Happilyeveresch. And today I'm coming to you with a book haul. So mostly thrifted books. Because gosh darn it, I just can't help myself, but then also my book of the month club picks. So let's hop into it. I'm going to share my thrifted finds first, and then I'll share everything that I picked up for February and March for book of the month club. So I've got quite a few little middle grade here. With middle grade March, it was hard not to pick up some good middle grade finds. So excuses. Let's just talk about the new books, shall we? The first book I picked up was a middle grade mystery series, and it's the first in the Enola Holmes mystery series, and this is the case of the missing Marquess. This has been adapted as a show on Netflix, and it looks very quirky and weird and fun. The whole premise is Enola Holmes is the little sister of Sherlock Holmes, and it's mystery adventures with a middle grade setting. It kind of gives me like a series of unfortunate events, kind of like weird, dark, early 2000s middle grade. That's like the feeling I get with this, and I'm totally here for it. I shared this in my last video that it was a book that I had hoped to read in March but didn't get to. I had some friends in the comments say that it was a good read for them, so I'm extra excited about this. And this series is by Nancy Springer. Such a cool cover, and there is, let's see, 6 books total in the series, it looks like. So I'm very excited to give this a go, and then maybe we'll try out the Netflix series if I enjoy the books. Another kind of dark, different middle grade is The Girl Who Could Fly by Victoria Forrester. Again, such a fun cover. Is this like Little House on the Prairie meets X-Men? Doesn't that sound amazing? I need to read the back to you. Piper McLeod lives with her normal ma and pa on a normal farm in normal lowland country. But Piper isn't your normal girl. Ever since Piper was a baby, she's been able to hover a few feet off the ground, and if the people of Lowland County knew she could fly, they would have something to say about it. So it only seems best that Piper be sent away to Insane, the top secret school for children with extraordinary abilities like hers. Her new friends have powers like telekinesis, x-ray vision, and the ability to create their own weather. Piper likes her new life at school, but soon she realizes things aren't as they seem. Now the school she was sent to for her own protection might be the most dangerous place she's ever been. It sounds different and fun. I can't wait. Really am so excited. I'd love to know if this is one that you've read, you have any thoughts. Let's see when it was published. 2008. So it's been published for a while. I do believe that this is a series. I'm very excited to give it a go. Next we have a classic middle grade that I know I checked out many a time as a middle grader but never actually read, and that's The Witch of Blackbird Pond. This is by Elizabeth George Spear. I really love this cover, this version. Historical fiction, I believe, set in like pre-revolution America. I don't know a lot about it, but I do know that Krista read it this year for middle grade March and really enjoyed it. It made me feel good that I had thrifted it this month and would like to eventually get to this one. Another book that was in Krista's middle grade March collaborative book recommendations video was From the Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler. This is also a Newbery Medal book and another kind of classic in the middle grade genre. I believe 2 kids run away from home and end up spending the night in a museum, in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. It just sounds delightful and fun, and again, I know it's a much beloved middle grade story, so I was happy to add it to my shelf. Another in a series, and this is a book that I read this February and really enjoyed it, and so this is Gone Crazy in Alabama by Rita Williams Garcia. This is, I believe, book 3 in her series, though I do think they're companion novels. I don't know if they need to be read consecutively. Don't take my word for it, but I read One Crazy Summer. PSB 11 is another book in the series, and then now I have gone crazy in Alabama. So I'm excited to read this, but I will need to do a little more research on if I can read this one or if this is the third one and I need to read it consecutively. So if you've read this series and have any opinions, please let me know them down below. But like I said, I really enjoyed One Crazy Summer. I thought it was a phenomenal read, and so I knew I wanted to continue on in the series, so I was glad to pick this up for, you know, $1 or less at my thrift store. The last middle grade I picked up in this book haul, my phone camera is actually sitting on right now, so I'll put a picture here, and that's Roll of Thunder Hear My Cry, another Newbery Medal book. I was just having so much luck in picking up those award winners. This is, I believe, was written in the 70s. It is about a family. This is definitely a coming of age story about a young girl who learns the importance of land to her family. There's kind of a upheaval this year of her life, and I love coming of age stories for middle grade books, so I was really excited to find this one. It's one that I know I read as a middle grader. I think it was required reading, but I don't remember it at all, so I'm very excited to experience this one as an adult. So that was another fun find at the thrift store. Okay, and now for my little thrifted stack of adult books. The first one I don't know anything about, but I recognize the author, so I couldn't pass it up for $1, and that is Green Dolphin Street. Oh, there's an ant. Green Dolphin Street by Elizabeth Goudge. I love this cover. So I know Elizabeth Goudge is an author that Kate Howe has talked about. I picked up the start of a series many years ago by Elizabeth Goudge. I can't think of the title now. I'll try to maybe put a picture in here on Kate Howe's recommendation. I still haven't read that one, but I just found this lovely floppy paperback for $1, recognized the author, and I just couldn't pass it up. Gosh darn it, that thrift store always gets me. But this, I believe, is set in New Zealand. Historical fiction, that's really all I need to know, but I will be giving this a try, and gosh, such a lovely, lovely cover. Next, I picked up a memoir. This one sounds amazing. It's called Ordinary Light by Tracy K. Smith. This was a National Book Award finalist. Let's see the year. It was published in 2015. I am going to read you the back because it really does sell you on it. In Ordinary Light, Pulitzer Prize winning poet Tracy K. Smith explores her coming of age and the meaning of home against a complex backdrop of race, faith, and the unbreakable bond between a mother and a daughter. Here is a young artist struggling to fashion her own understanding of belief, loss, history, and what it means to be Black in America, shot through with lyricism, wry humor, and acute awareness of the beauty of everyday life. Ordinary Light is a gorgeous kaleidoscope of self and family. I just think this sounds beautiful. I think the cover is stunning, and I couldn't pass it up. So I'd love to know if you've read this. I haven't heard anyone talk about it, but it sounds phenomenal. And I tend to like National Book Award finalists and winners. It's a prize that I tend to enjoy the picks. So always like a high praise for me. I tend to jive with a lot of their picks. Okay, next we have, I don't know if this would be considered literary fiction, historical fiction, maybe like a little mix of both, but this is The Two Family House by Linda Cohen Loigman. It's a multi-generational family story. Total buzzword. I love that. The setting is two families living in a brownstone. Both of the mothers in these families are pregnant. There's a huge blizzard. They're kind of by themselves. Two babies are born, and this is like a pivotal change for these two families. Both families' lives are changed forever. I'm very interested. I know Krista over at Books and Jams also, I think, ended up listening to this book on audio. She read it a couple months ago and really enjoyed it. It is one that I had checked out from the library and started but never finished, so I'm glad to add it to my shelves, and kind of when I'm wanting a little historical fiction, multi-generational family story, I'll have a good one to pick up. I also love this cover. It's very, like, the typography and the windows. Yeah, it's very intriguing to me. Interested to see kind of how I get on with this one. Another book I was so excited to find at the thrift store is The Dearly Beloved by Cara Wall. This one I was recommended by Katie over at Life Between Words. She really enjoyed this book. Another multi-generational family story. This one following two pastors and their families and how their lives are interwoven together and how their families affect one another. It very much sounds like it's in the vein of like Ask Again Yes by Mary Beth Keane, or maybe even like The Vanishing Half, those kind of like historical fiction, mid-20th century family stories. I am a sucker for those, and so I'm excited to add this one to my repertoire of books in that kind of multi-generational, a little bit of a mystery, family dynamics, kind of historical fiction genre. I'm really excited that I found that one. Okay, and then last but certainly not least, this is a book that I hear some people talk about it and I think that it's like totally a book for me I'm gonna love, and I hear other people talk about it and I'm like, I don't know. But when I found it at the thrift store, I knew I wanted to give it a go, and I did read the first couple sentences, and the writing was not as mental as I thought it maybe was going to be, and that's Girl, Woman, Other by Bernardine Evaristo. So this is almost sounds like short stories, but maybe not, maybe I'm just like putting that on it, but about Black women living in Britain. Their stories, their lives, like that slice of life literary fiction I love, but I do know the writing style is a little more experimental. Like I don't think there's any punctuation. I can't say that for certain, but I do believe that I've heard people review it say that there's not, but I've also heard people say it's like her prose is so easy to fall into, and I did, like I said, read the first bit and enjoyed her writing, so I'm hoping that I'll love this, and I'm definitely going to at least give it a go. It's been such a buzzy book, it's been so highly praised, so I definitely want to try it, and I could not believe my luck finding it at the thrift store for a couple dollars. I think the cover is so cool. I'm loving yellow on books. And yeah, it won the Man Booker in 2019. So now I will say I don't always love Man Booker Prize winners, so we'll see if this one is one that I love or not, but I've heard such good things that I had to at least give it a try. Alrighty, and that was everything that I've thrifted over the past couple months. Now let's get into my Book of the Month Club picks for February and March. Book of the Month Club has been tempting me. They've had so many great picks. I've now been able to stick to just one. But I guess that's a good problem to have. Okay, for February, I picked Infinite Country by Patricia Engel. She is a two-time Book of the Month Club author. This one's a pretty thin little book. I own her other book, The Veins of the Ocean, and I haven't read it yet, but this one sounded so good. I couldn't not pick it. Let me give you a little bit. Talia is being held at a correctional facility for adolescent girls in the forested mountains of Colombia after committing an impulsive act of violence that may or may not have been warranted. She urgently needs to get out and get back home to Bogota, where her father and a plane ticket to the United States are waiting for her. If she misses her flight, she might also miss her chance to finally be reunited with her family in the north. How this family came to occupy two different countries, two different worlds, comes into focus like twists of a kaleidoscope. It goes on to give more about the book, but I feel like that was all I needed to know. Again, pretty short, but I'm very, very interested in this novel and in this author in general. Her other book also deals with, kind of begins with a very intense act of violence. So I think that that's like an interesting way that this author seems to kind of maybe have a pattern of starting her stories. So I think that like exploring that dynamic is fascinating. It's also a really lovely and interesting cover, and I'm very excited to give this one a try. Okay, and so then I had another pick that I couldn't resist. This had been on a couple people's like anticipated releases for 2021, and so I was very excited to see that it was a Book of the Month Club option, and that's The Kindest Lie by Nancy Johnson. Another really interesting cover. This book is set in 2008, the financial crisis. We are following our main character who returns home to her small town in Indiana, I believe, digging up past secrets, dealing with like past decisions that she's made. She also befriends a young white young boy, and it's about their relationship and dynamic. So it's about the like class divide, the racial divide in this town, and also just like her own self-discovery and kind of coming to terms with like maybe some family secrets. It sounds so good. This is one that I might be reading sooner rather than later. It just sounds like compulsively readable contemporary literary fiction, and I'm very much here for it. Okay, and then came March, where I really struggled to pick. So I have 3 picks for March. The first one, probably the one I'm most excited about, is What's Mine and Yours by Naima Coaster. This was blurbed or recommended by the author Mary Beth Keane of Ask, Kick, and Yes, which is one of my favorite books of 2020, and she said that this is a masterpiece. It's one of her favorite books that she's ever read. Again, family dynamics, multi-generational family story. Again, I think it's set, or like a major event happens in like the mid 20th century, which that is right for me to enjoy. Just, this sounds like a lot of things that I'm going to love. I don't know too much about it, but I'm kind of happy to go in a little bit more blind. But this one was one that was my pick. I knew I wanted it. And these other 2, I don't know, they just snuck their way into my needing to have. So the first is The Final Revival of Opal and Nev by Dwayne Walton. This has been compared to Daisy Jones and the Six, which is one that I hem and haw about reading. I've read another one of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books, and her writing style wasn't my favorite, and so I'm having a hard time wanting to pick that up, but this one kind of sounds like a little more up my alley. I believe this is told through interviews, like an interviewer's perspective, and kind of things that are dug up, looking back on the past, changing timelines. I love all of it, and it sucked me in. I couldn't say no. I have so many unread Book of the Month Club books. I really need to calm down with picking multiple, but they have such good options. Okay, and then last but not least, The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Pinner. This sounds so much fun. So many people picked it, and I was totally sucked into the hype. Historical fiction, dual timelines. I believe the first timeline we're following modern day woman who's digging into the past, and the past timeline is these women apothecaries who focus on women's health but also create poisons to help women kill men in their life that have done them wrong. It sounds so intriguing. The cover is gorgeous, that fantastical elements, but also women's issues. I know Krista over at Books and Jams has already read this one. She read it for NetGalley and really loved it, and so that made me excited to pick it up too. But yes, I'm very much looking forward to reading this one. All right, that's it. That's everything. That's a lot of everything that I have picked up recently. I would love to know, have you thrifted any good books? What have been some of your Book of the Month Club picks? I'm so interested in knowing what people pick. If you do subscribe, if you're interested in signing up for Book of the Month, my referral link is always down below. That's something that anyone can share, and you would get a discount, and I believe I might get a discount as well if you choose to sign up with that link. So yes, I think that's all I need to share with you all. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you want to see more bookish content from me, and I'm sure I'll be seeing you later with another video soon. Thanks guys, have a great day. Bye. Hi, Kitty.